Are you looking for simple scrapbook page ideas? Today's project has been designed just for you. Hello everyone, Miss Carrie here. This gorgeous yet simple scrapbook page is one that you will want to save for multiple projects. I can't wait to show you how it comes together. On my desk I have the Color Rush Golden Days kit. Recently, I shared an unboxing of this kit and shared a few of my favorite pieces in the collection and some ways to use the kit. I also showed you which Ranger and Catherine Pooler inks match the color palette of this kit. Sharing ways to use what you have in your collection is one of my favorite things to do. In the Golden Days kit, there are 12 double-sided pattern papers with a boho vintage vibe. The kit also includes canvas flare buttons from Scrap Happy Studio, these adorable little crochet bows, glitter winged hearts, coordinating bits and pieces, frazzles and ribbon, and a set of glitter trimmed American Craft thicker letters. In the unboxing video, I shared my discount code to order this collection. In the description below, I'll add a link to that video along with the list of supplies I'll be using today. Let's get started with the project. When I was sharing this kit, I mentioned that some of the patterns, like this plaid, have a great outdoorsy feel. So I've selected it as the frame for this memory of our adorable niece enjoying a day in the mountains. One of the simplest ways to place focus on a photo is mixing coordinating paper strips behind it. You can cut these to any width or height you want. I like to have a photo shape pattern offset behind my photo, and I layer 2 larger strips behind it. I choose 3 to 4 patterns that coordinate well together and have a similar color palette. To bring focus to the photo, I'm going to add a circular element on the right. This rainbow shape is a perfect fit. Before I adhere everything in place, I'm going to add a little bit of stenciling, so I'll mark the placement of these pieces and grab a stencil that matches the theme of the page. I will be using a dry medium, so I've already stitched the white cardstock to the pattern paper. If it were a wet medium, I would have waited until it dried before I adhered all these pieces in place. I'm using a distress crayon today, which might be new to some of you, so I'll share a few ways that I like to use it with stencils. If you want a small amount of color, you can create a pool of pigment on your glass board or an open area of the stencil, then use a pouncing tool, blending brush, or ink blender to add color over the stenciled images. For a deeper hue, I color directly onto the stencil next to the images and blend the pigment into the open areas of the stencil. I often add the pigment randomly so that I get a mix of dark and light. If you want your images to really stand out, run the crayon right over the open areas of the stencil and blend the pigment. I drew mine in a circular shape to match the area around the rainbow die cut I'm adding. For those who have never heard of a distress crayon, let me explain what these are while I finish adding color to the page. These are part of the Ranger Distress line of products. They are vibrant in color and work best on porous surfaces. The pigment is water reactive. You can add water to these stencil designs and blend your pigment. Or like I've done in previous videos, use the crayon like watercolor paint to fill in images. These have almost a wax-like texture, which makes them great for smudging. Let me show you what that looks like. Since I ran my crayon over the stencil, I ended up with a few chunks of pigment here, so I'm going to run the pouncer tool over those to create some little blots of color. You can also use your finger to smudge those pigment pieces. When you use distress crayons through a stencil, it will need time to dry or that crayon will smudge. These are heat resistant, so I'll just use a heat tool to speed up the drying time. Off camera, I added stitching to my paper strips. I'm going to add a bit of frazzle ribbon next to my photo. The little bits of yellow pair well with the green in the background, and it's going to really make that photo pop on the page. I cut chevrons at the ends of the paper strips. If you struggle to make even cuts like I do, use a set of banner dies. I have a collection of these in different sizes just for paper crafting. I place the die at the base of the paper strip and run it partially through my spellbinder machine to create the chevron cut. A T-ruler is another great tool to have on hand when you're creating page designs like this. Mine has measurements to help me align everything nicely on the page. With foam tape, I've adhered the photo and rainbow in place. I wanted to bring in some of the soft brown to this side of the page, so I cut out a decorative circle from craft paper and cut it down to fit the space. Once this is in place, you can really see how it makes the photo pop, doesn't it? Before I add my title, I need to bring in a little more of the stencil design. As a mixed media novice, I always err on the side of caution. As I add a little more of this pigment to the page, I want to remind you to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more tips and tricks. I also appreciate it when you leave comments below. Your feedback helps me to create better content for you. For my title, I'm using the thicker letters to spell out the word carefree in an arc shape. In my unboxing video, I shared a close-up of these. They have a wood grain-like design with gold glitter outlines. At first, I didn't think it would work for an outdoor page, but they fit this design perfectly. Let me know in the comments how you would use these letters. All I have left to do is add a few embellishments. I'm going to tuck a tab over here and a single floral piece. I wanted to add a knot over here, but I'm going to be layering some other pieces, and I don't want the bulk of the fabric knot. I'm tying the fabric with some thin thread to create that bunched up look, and then I'll just adhere a piece of fabric like some tails to make it look like I have a knot under the butterfly here. This is going to make it so much easier to adhere everything in place and not have a lot of layers on my page. I wanted to add a few more florals, so I cut one of the larger die cuts in half, and I'm layering them together over here on the left. They have a circular shape, which matches the shape on the opposite side. To finish off the page, I'm going to bring in one of the charming canvas flare pieces. This rainbow is perfect for my page, and the phrase "happy times" fits the theme of the photo. Let's take a look at the finished page I shared with you. As I said at the beginning of the video, simple page designs are great when life gets super busy. This page is framed with some simple plaid pattern paper. I added strips of the Golden Days patterns behind the photo, and the arc shape title is such a fun element, and this little cluster with the canvas flare is a lovely embellishment that was simple to make. Today's scrapbook page showcases the August kit from Color Rush Studio. The collection has a vintage boho vibe, but many of the patterns are perfect for outdoor vacation photos like this one. The muted colors, simple patterns, fabric elements, and florals are versatile enough for many of your summer and fall memory keeping. If you're one who likes to pin photos to inspiration boards, I've added still shots of this layout to my website, social media posts, and in the Color Rush Studio Facebook group for you to use. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope this project inspired you to try something new. If you have any questions about this project or the supplies I used, feel free to post that in the comments below. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I can't wait to see what you create.